Well, everyone, I'm gonna be honest. I think the end might be near. I'm just gonna rip this off my chest. I don't think that this update is very good. I think that this is... yeah, this is the worst update I've talked about. The main reason I'm saying that is, well, the Afila and the Corvette CX concept. The main reason I'm saying that is because it changes something that I really like about Gran Turismo. Up until this game, I always saw Gran Turismo as a passion project rather than a way to make money. But with the amount of CUVs that are coming in and the speculation that it's all because companies are paying Gran Turismo to put them in and they're folding, it's obviously changed to a little bit more of a corporate vibe. I'm worried about the future because at times, it doesn't feel like it's touching on the passion of cars at all. The Afila is developed between Honda and Sony, and it's an autonomous electric car. Having an autonomous electric car in a game about motorsports and a game about you being a driver just seems like betrayal to the player base in some weird way or another, and maybe you won't think that, but I personally do. The CX is an electric car, but you know, who cares? It's fine. It doesn't matter to me all that much. Yes, I would have preferred if they built a car that had a cooler powertrain than that, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest, I really don't give a shit what Chevrolet does with the Corvette. The CX doesn't really seem to be considered a Vision Gran Turismo car in as many aspects as the others, which makes me wonder how much Gran Turismo had an influence on the design of this car. Obviously they had some connections because the race car was unveiled at the same time, and that is a Vision Gran Turismo, but how long was Chevy working on this project? And how long did they have to model the cars into the games? One of the big things that we've been talking about is how long it takes to model these cars because they're such high detail and such high quality, but I don't know. I feel like this CX thing probably didn't take that long. I may be way off. This could have been a 2-year project or something like that, but to me it just doesn't seem like it is. The race car I had a pretty similar opinion of, and then I drove it in the game and I thought, you know what, this is cool, but it's completely useless. The time trial that's available at the moment is the only thing you're ever going to use that car for, and that's a fact. There will not be another event where that car proves consistently useful. I won't deny that the Aventime, especially the V6 version, is a cult classic, but it just isn't to me because it's not a thing in my world. Obviously, we've all seen the funny Top Gear episode where they turn into a time attack car, but I don't think that really makes it all too special. And I know I'm going to get a lot of L's for that, but to me at least, the Aventime, it's just a minivan with an interesting engine and nothing more. But I'm not really gonna scream the F word or complain about it and bitch and all those kind of things because I've just kind of lost the excitement overall. Like I can't say I was let down. I was just a little bit surprised that it was gonna be a bit more boring than I expected. But I went in there not hoping for anything that I would want. I truly have just kind of lost some of the care I had for some of these updates. And it's not just this one flipping the switch. I've been, having that over time. If you've noticed, I've lost a little bit of energy. Reformatted this a few times. Here's another reformat. Probably because I'm broke in the game. I've driven all the cars, but I didn't want to record any footage of that because I thought it looked boring. Not that all the other times we've driven the cars in the game, they aren't boring, but yeah, I didn't bother with that. My main complaint isn't that they put an Afila in. Well, I mean, it is, but it's because I feel like Gran Turismo is changing its mission. It's something that I stuck with and respected because of its original mission of feeling more like a passion project, implementing things that people want, having a lot of content, having a lot of soul. And these last two installments just, they don't feel like they have that. They feel more motivated to make money. Microtransactions, cars nobody asked for from manufacturers willing to pay a huge amount of money. And it's just coming off to me as slop. The first theory is, of course, the whole idea of the next Gran Turismo having an open world element. And I think that's highly motivated by the fact that Forza Horizon 5 is on PlayStation now, and it's pulling people away from Gran Turismo. I know it is. I've seen it. I can understand why. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's happening, at least anytime soon. But I think it would be a cool, good idea. I just don't think it's on the cards. Another theory is that they're bulking up the starter cars. And if that is the case, these are the wrong starter cars to be bulking up. Something that I recommended, like the Ford Focus SVT from like 99 to 2004, I think that would be a pretty good shout for a starter car to be added into the game. But again, plausible. I think that probably is the case. I don't really understand why these would be their picks. I think it would still tie into these being, you know, ways to make money and being paid by manufacturers to feature cars. The last theory that I have is that the game isn't really about what it's supposed to be about anymore. And that's what I've been talking about the whole time. The reason electric cars and CUVs and SUVs and minivans, all those kind of things are coming in so frequently is because that's what people drive. Not a lot of people drive GT3 cars. That's why we're not getting so many GT3 cars. But a lot of people are going to be driving CUVs, SUVs, Toyota CHRs, Honda CRVs. That's why they're being put in. Because people always like it when their car is in the game and they can drive their car in the game. But not a lot of people have these cool fancy cars. They just have CHRs and CRVs. So to get that effect more often, they're adding in cars people don't really want. So what's next? The actual video. Yeah, that's right. This was an intro, you stupid idiots. You totally thought I was just gonna rant for 12 minutes about how shitty this update is? No, we're gonna do it properly. We're gonna do it like last time. We're gonna talk about engine swaps. We're gonna talk about upgrades. We're gonna talk about all that shit right now, here in like 47 seconds after this kick-ass sponsorship. This video is sponsored by my balls because they're useless, overpriced, and very low quality. Alright, the music's very dramatic. Let's see what we get this time. August 2025. A feeler, more like a feel of my balls because they fucking, we got the goddamn motherfucking Corvette CXR with the two Renault Aventime 3-liter V6 24 valve. Right, proper car that is in it. This video's 9 minutes long and I haven't even done anything. Afira. The only difference between the 2024 and 2026 model are the two tumors. Let's get political for a split second and talk about electric cars. Because really, I think they're fine. Okay? Here's the problem. Let me put you in a situation. There's this Rivian thing. I don't know what they're called other than Rivian. And then there's a Lotus Evija. Which one of those do you think I don't like? You probably think that I don't like the Rivian, but no, I think that the Rivian is interesting and futuristic and is testing technology that needs to be tested. I think the Evija is a piece of shit here. I think the Evija is fucking garbage because I think electric cars work as cars, but Lotus is not a car brand per se. They're like a driving experience. So what's the point in doing a heavy, powerful electric car with your brand heritage of Lotus, of making the fucking 7 for like 70 years, bro? It makes no fucking sense. It's stupid. It's dumb. That's why I don't like electric cars, is because people try and make electric cars sports cars when they shouldn't be. And here's another thing too. Let's talk about Formula E, and let's talk about the World Rallycross Championship right now. Which one do you think I like more? I like Formula E a lot because I think it's really cool that they're trying to design a motorsport based around electric vehicles and energy efficiency and tires that you really shouldn't need to change, really. But Rallycross isn't an electric motorsport. It's fucking Rallycross, bro. Let's say they start up a new Rallycross series that's electric. What do you know? That's pretty fucking cool. It's just this change in like how things are being held. Like, I like electric motorsports, but I don't like when motorsports are replaced with electric vehicles. I like sports cars, but I don't like it when electric cars replace sports cars, because they're not the same experience. That being said, this is actually an autonomous electric car, and I am fully against autonomous cars because they're fucking stupid. If you can't drive a car, too fucking bad. Walk, bitch. Go get a fucking bus. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the Afeela. I don't mind the electric thing. It's whatever. But yeah, this is like pushing autonomy and all the stupid party trick shit that I hate about electric cars. So no, I don't like this car very much from a political standpoint, which sounds fucking stupid to say because it's Gran Turismo. But you know, this over the Focus for sure. This is way fucking better than the Focus. The 2026 model doesn't have a horsepower or a torque or a weight value still, so there's not really any upgrades other than suspension, tires, and downforce. And with those upgrades, it makes no fucking difference. It's still fucking boring. They make this the autonomous commuter car with not very much horsepower, that's not optimized for weight. It's not a sports car, and it can't be turned into a sports car, which is like the two things Gran Turismo cars should be. One of the two, if not both. And this is neither. So, yeah, anyways, next thing. Jesus Christ. Fuck me. That is loud. The Corvette CX is an electric Corvette with a shitload of power. I don't know how to feel about it, because there are many times you could look at a Corvette and say it's not a driver's car, which in my book means, yeah, you can go electric with it. And other times you can say it's absolutely a driver's sports car, which, why would you go electric with that? So, it's kind of in some weird limbo. It has 2100 horsepower, something like that. It doesn't have a torque figure, but if I had to imagine, it's about 4 million billion kajillion foot-pounds of torque, because it spins its wheels up to about, I don't know, 220 miles an hour on sport soft tires. It's all-wheel drive, and while it's spinning its wheels, it is still pulling pretty hard, but as you can probably hear, it's just wheel spin. It's a wheel spin simulator. It still fucking moves though. It's still really fast. It's also extremely twitchy. The aero balance is completely fucked on this car, and I don't really know why. It only goes super fast when the wheel is perfectly straight. If you're going through a section where you can use all of the horsepower and not bother with all the downforce, but you turn the wheel too much, the car will fucking snap around on you and get all crazy. So it's not necessarily hard to drive. I didn't really crash it or spin it or anything like that. But it's like kind of annoying to drive, if that makes sense. Like sometimes it just gets this turning ability and loses power when you don't expect it, and it throws you into this crazy fucking like quickly catch the car because you're about to oversteer type of thing. And sometimes it's like right on that line, so when you go to catch it, you lose all that grip, and it just keeps getting wobblier and wobblier until you eventually get to a straight line and the car can just settle the fuck down. So, I mean, for an electric car, I was kind of surprised because I was having fun with just the absurdity of having 4 quadrillion pounds of feet of fucking torque. But otherwise, it looks nice. It looks okay. It looks nice in some regard. I'm not a big fan of the back, but the front looks okay. I don't know how Corvette-y this is. I wouldn't look at this and go, oh, a Corvette, and I wouldn't drive it and say, oh yeah, this is a Corvette. I'd probably say, all hail Lord Megatron, and wait a minute, why aren't you a tank anymore? The only thing that you can do is racing soft tires, so does that fix our wheel spin problem? No. No, it doesn't. It is still very present. There's nothing else to say about this. There's no other tuning. There's no other customization. You can put tires that don't do anything on. How exciting is that? I don't know how I feel about the race car. I love small displacement V8s, but in like Caterhams and Ariel Adams and shit. I don't mind that it's in a Corvette, but I don't know why they picked the Corvette to finally do a small displacement V8 like that in, but I mean, it's cool. I think it would be better than like the 6.2 or something. So I like the powertrain kind of. This car still has the problem of the weird power delivery and aero balance and shit. I should mention that none of these cars really feel unsafe. They just feel very aggressive, which I don't really dig it that much. I wish I could kind of at least have control over that. You know, driving the car completely stock, it's whatever, it's fine. I didn't fuck up too much, but I would also like to have more downforce in all 4 corners of the car and maybe just more on the rear in general. But that's not an option. There's no tuning on this car whatsoever. And apparently I'm not very good in it because I can only get silver, and typically I can get pretty deep into the golds. But I guess I'm no good in this car, despite feeling like I'm fucking flying. But you know, that is just something that happens when you get old. You know, you just can't drive Corvette concept cars quite as fast as you used to. You know, you can't get them gold times when you're as old as me. I don't mind it. I think it's fine. I mean, it's a Vision Gran Turismo, and a useless one at that. I should mention the CX and the CXR. Good luck finding like any event that you can use those in. That there isn't one. Spoiler: there is not an event that you can use these cars in that means anything at all. So a couple of, I mean, they're not uncool or anything, but they are completely useless. You can't argue that. And a couple more of those, you know, who gives a fuck at this point? I don't care if they're useless or not. What is completely useless is me showing the modified half of this car, because there isn't one. It even comes with Racing Soft. There's still no tuning you can do whatsoever, no suspension, no aero, no nothing. You can change the brake balance, but I did paint it like I paint all the cars, so it's nothing special at all. And it's just the same car with the brake bias changed. Yeah, I think they probably could have done a little bit better with this by, you know, having at least some tunability to it. I mean, it's a VGT. They're not gonna have turbos or weight reduction or anything, but I mean, you can have us change the gearbox or the suspension or the aero, but no, it's just a car. It's just here. You just can't use it for anything. It's pretty damn cool, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing. I won't lie, I'm gonna get some hate for this. I don't really give a shit about the Aventine. I will not deny that it is a cult classic, but as an American, it is a cult classic that is completely irrelevant to me. Okay, it has Renault V6. It is also front-wheel drive minivan. Like, this car doesn't exist to me. I understand that it was like rare, not a lot of people bought them, and it had an interesting powertrain, and it's got a cult following over across the pond, but I'm sorry, over here it just isn't. It's completely irrelevant. Yeah, we've all seen the Top Gear episode, and like that's it over here. Like it just doesn't matter over here. And I'm not gonna pretend like that means anything, because most of the world is over there, so I'm not gonna bash it just because it's not relevant to me. But I'm just gonna tell you right now that you might not like what I say about this car, because I'm not gonna glaze the fuck out of it like an idiot, because it doesn't mean anything to me. It's a fucking boat. The car's a boat. It doesn't turn and it's gutless. Okay? That's what it is. It's a shit box in stock form. It's not good. It's not interesting. And it makes me question why it even has a cult following. Do people pimp the fuck out of their Aventines and like all-wheel drive swap them? If they did that, I guess they'd be pretty fucking cool. It'd still look like a shitbox minivan with weird geometry everywhere. But I mean, it would be better than nothing. I'm sorry. I just don't fucking care. Like, what do you want me to say? It's a heavy, understeery minivan with a V6 and a manual gearbox. You know, those last two things, sure, they're cool, but not in combination with the other thing. I'm sorry. Like, what do you want me to say? You want me to say, oh, this is actually the best touring car ever? No, it's a shitbox. It's not good. It's not that interesting of a car, guys. Trust me. Look at it from the outside. Look at it as if it wasn't a Renault Aventine. Just like imagine it as a soulless thing that has all the features that this has, and it's just not interesting. I promise it's not. It's like, you don't believe me, but it's true. It's true. Now the modified version fucks so hard. For a front-wheel drive car with 500 horsepower, this thing has all the fucking grip in the world. Okay, you'll like spin until third gear, and by spin I mean, yeah, you're slipping a tiny bit, but you still have a fuck ton of grip. Dude, this thing is cool. It doesn't look cool, but it sounds really good, and it drives pretty good for a front-wheel drive car. It would suck ass in my touring car class, but fully upgraded, like, damn, bro, it was definitely more fun than I thought it would be. I didn't have like any trouble making it handle decent. If anything, I had too much oversteer going into some of these corners. Like the back would step out too much, but that's because I had the rear wing turned all the way down. So if I turn that up and it starts to shoot a bit straighter, like this thing is fucking wild. I don't know if it's just because it's heavy, or it has a massive fucking V6 over the front wheels, or what, but it's fucking grippy as fuck. Like both in terms of acceleration and cornering. Like it's so much better than I thought it would be. And it's got tons of power. It has like 500 horsepower, and it sounds nice. And I think it's under like 3,000 pounds now. It doesn't really get lightweight. I'm not gonna say it's light, but I wouldn't call it heavy anymore. And it handles being low really well. It handles having big wheels really well. It handles having a lot of aero really well. It's a fucking race car, I guess. Because it drives like shit when it's underpowered, but once you put the correct amount of horsepower in, it's a fucking hill climb monster. I'm not sure how the fuck Renault did that, or if that's just Gran Turismo logic. How they made their car so shitty, but make it to where it's so fucking crazy cool when you build the fuck out of it, I guess. It makes me wonder if the Renault Laguna had the same V6. Because I don't know very much about Renault, but this is the Renault Laguna Williams livery, and I wonder if it has the same powertrain, you know? Because it sounds really nice, and it's actually really sporty and good. Yeah, it does come at the price of looking like some weird fucking crashed into minivan from BeamNG or something, but, you know, it's alright. It's better than I thought it would be modified. But, you know, I'm not gonna say it's bad, because even if it wasn't good modified, it's like a car that needs to be in Gran Turismo. It's just one of those cars where it's like, okay, it's stupid, it's a cult classic, It's got to go in the fucking game so you can chuck racing slicks and a turbo on it. Like, it's just one of those things. But this time it's actually good. And probably pretty plausible for a few races. Probably not my touring car lobby. But maybe, shit, man. Maybe it'll fucking dominate that class here in a minute, you know? I mean, it just left me speechless, honestly. Mostly because of the sound. It sounds really nice. But, yeah. Shit, man. Because I just have to eat my own words. This video sucks so fucking bad, bro. Okay, so engine swaps. We're gonna just go down the list here. The first one is the A45. This gets the engine from the AMG GT3, the 2020. So that's an 800 horsepower all-wheel drive street car. Very good for my GT1 revival class. Otherwise, it's probably not going to be that exciting. It has some understeer issues, and the suspension isn't quite tunable enough. There's too much weight transfer, there's too much body roll, and you just can't make the natural frequency stiff enough to like deal with that. So it's kind of a slush box, the whole car, but it moves. You cannot deny it. It moves. It's a speedy speed boy still, 800 horsepower and a little all-wheel drive thing. It can still make its way around the track. It's just not very satisfying and kind of boring. If you want to do this one, go ahead, man. I'm not your dad. It's just not gonna knock your socks off, I don't think, but it's fine. The 351 Windsor from the GAC Maverick goes in the Mustang GT, the base model, not the GT 350 or any other race car ones. As you might imagine, 1400 horsepower makes this car fucking undrivable. It was very hard to get footage for. It does sound nice, but good luck keeping it in a straight line because it doesn't want to go in a straight line, and it wouldn't make a good drift car. It's too out of control for a drift car even. So I would recommend, if you're gonna do like a low power endurance build, like not put the turbo or anything else on and then limit the power through the ECU and power restrictor, maybe that would be okay. That might be a good way to use the car with the swap. But this one, personally, I wouldn't recommend. This one is pretty stinky, and it's probably my least favorite out of the ones from this update because it's useless. When are you going to use this? The max power output from the stock engine is already pretty much too much for the car, and like almost doubling that just makes it a lot worse, as you can probably imagine. So no, I would not personally recommend this one. Maybe if you just want a really shitty car that doesn't drive in a straight line and is completely undrivable, this is the swap for you. Otherwise, probably should spend your money somewhere else, unless you just want it for fucking, I don't know, collector reasons like I do. No, I'm not gonna drive this one again, that's for sure. It's gonna collect some dust now. If I were to rate this one, I would give it 7 fuses out of 8 Mitsubishi Lancers. Now the Civic gets the engine from the NSX GT500 car from 2016. This engine makes comfortably over 800 horsepower, and the Civic stays front-wheel drive. So, as you might imagine, it's pretty much fucking undrivable. You can't put any power down whatsoever, and it punches way below its PP. So I obviously wouldn't really recommend these unless you're going to really cut down the engine in order to be very fuel efficient. Otherwise, I would not even bother because the car is not going to drive. It's going to have too much torque, it's going to have too much power. There will never be enough grip at the front of this car to make this 800 horsepower work. So I don't even really see why you would bother considering it unless you're going to reduce the power from even the stock output to like 300 something, or maybe even less for some kind of endurance lobby or race or something. That's the only possible use I could see for it, and even then it's front wheel drive, it's going to eat the front tires. But if you do that, I reckon you'll be pretty damn good on fuel. So that's literally the only use for this car, is to make it less powerful. So I don't know if you're into that kind of thing. Sometimes I am, sometimes that's fun, but in a car like this, probably not. No. Would I recommend it for shits and giggles? Yes, I would recommend it. Go spend a fuckload on this swap right now.
Now the Civic gets the engine from the NSX GT500 car from 2016. This engine makes comfortably over 800 horsepower, and the Civic stays front-wheel drive. So, as you might imagine, it's pretty much fucking undrivable. You can't put any power down whatsoever, and it punches way below its PP. So I obviously wouldn't really recommend these unless you're going to really cut down the engine in order to be very fuel efficient. Otherwise, I would not even bother, because the car is not going to drive. It's going to have too much torque. It's going to have too much power. There will never be enough grip at the front of this car to make this 800 horsepower work. So I don't even really see why you would bother considering it, unless you're going to reduce the power from even the stock output to like 300 something, or maybe even less for some kind of endurance lobby or race or something. That's the only possible use I could see for it, and even then, it's front wheel drive. It's going to eat the front tires, but if you do that, I reckon you'll be pretty damn good on fuel. So that's literally the only use for this car, is to make it less powerful. So I don't know if you're into that kind of thing. Sometimes I am. Sometimes that's fun. But in a car like this, probably not. No. Would I recommend it for shits and giggles? Yes. Yes, I would recommend it. Go spend a fuckload on this swap right now. The Genesis also gets the 351 Windsor, but this car is all-wheel drive, so it's actually somewhat manageable. Is it fun? No. Is it good? Not particularly. But is it at least drivable? Yes, it is. Congratulations, we finally have a decent fucking engine swap. Well, that's not true, because the A45 is probably better. I mean, it's pretty quick in a straight line, but it's really heavy, so it's not 1400 horsepower quick. And it's not very good in the corners either. So, I mean, it's just kind of like something you can use for fun every now and then. I really don't even know like where you would use it, other than maybe the weekly challenges when a four-wheel drive only race pops up, which I don't think that there will be, because it's not Japanese. The only one I can think of is Japanese four-wheel drive. So I don't know. I mean, and I can't really complain about engine swaps being useless, because of course they are. Like, they're meant to be fun, not necessarily useful. But these don't really feel that fun, if I'm being totally honest. Is it bad? No, it's not bad. It's fine. It's just kind of a weird one, and there's not really any more to it other than, oh, this is kind of weird, but at least it works. Like, that's it. There you go. That's the whole engine swap. Are you happy? No? Oh, you are? Oh, you're not sure? Yeah, me neither, man. Let's move on to the next one. Now, let me tell you something. When I was 12 years old and still thought JDM cars were the peak of automotive engineering, I had two dream cars. The SW20 MR2, the Turbo Gen 2 one, and then I also wanted a S14 K0, so this exact car, with not an RB26 and RB25, because I thought it would be easier to do the 25 swap, as if I was the first person to ever have the idea of putting an RB in an S14. I'm pretty sure you can find like 6,000 fucking ways to RB26 swap an S14, but for some reason I wanted a 25 because I thought it would be easier. Not that I don't still think that would be cool, it's just not as cool as I thought it would be back then. But in the game, when I have 1,000 horsepower in a tiny little S14, I must say I was expecting more pull. It's like it doesn't make any torque or something, which, I mean, that's alright. It makes it way more drivable. If it did have a ludicrous amount of torque like I was expecting, I would probably have not been able to get footage for it without spinning the car a million times. But the way that it does drive is super weird. So you know how when you engine swap a rear-wheel drive lightweight car in this game, and it makes that much horsepower, once it steps out at all, you're fucked and you're done. You might as well just click the restart button straight away, because you're not catching that fucking slide. This car's not like that. It's so responsive, in fact, that once you do that, and you have your crazy fucking moment of counter steer, you'll probably overcorrect. It's very responsive and twitchy.
but not to the point where it's undrivable. It's to the point where, like, wow, it wants me to think it's undrivable, but it actually has complete control over where it's going. It's bizarre to drive, and it's a cool idea for a swap. You know, I rate this a solid 7-second quarter-mile pass.
The next one is very similar. It's the RE Amamiya FD with the 787B4 rotor. And I can just say the exact same thing about this car, except it's not quite as responsive and it's a little bit more understeery. There's not nearly as much pull as I was expecting from a 1000 horsepower engine, and it's really not that bad to drive. Pretty fucking cut and dry. I mean, I could repeat myself like I did for the Civic, but I'm not feeling it right now. So I'm just gonna say very similar to the S14, but a little bit more understeery and a little bit less responsive on the front. What I think could benefit that is more front downforce, but unfortunately, you can't do that to this car. You can only put a shitload on the rear, which I assume is what makes it stable. So if you really want to fine tune it and get an aero balance going that's a bit better, sure, that's probably the right way to do it, but the front lifts too much. 150 isn't enough for the front, so you're kind of fucked either way.
Oh, this is really exciting. I'm going to drive the fucking minivan again. So this piece of shit right here gets the Volkswagen Group 3 engine. It's some kind of 6-cylinder because it sounds exactly like an R35 GTR, and instead of 500 something, it has 789 horsepower. So we can conclude that the maximum horsepower for a front-wheel drive car in this game is between like 789 to 820 something. Because this one is still somewhat drivable, just less drivable, and the Civics are completely fucking undrivable.
I would recommend not swapping it because it sounds worse and it's way more fucking boring with this much horsepower. The original engine sounds a lot better and is more fun to drive with that little horsepower. This is just too much for the chassis. Yeah, it has grip. Yeah, it's still kind of fast, but it's not fun. It's just so fucking annoying to drive this thing. Not nearly as annoying as the Civics, but just why would you do that when you have a huge amount of horsepower with 500 horsepower in your front-wheel drive car, and it still drives like a nice touring car, and this just drives like a piece of shit. It really does. It really just pushes a lot and doesn't have a lot of turn in and struggles everywhere, but at least gets through it. I don't know why you would do this. Just avoid it. Just don't do it, please. Do not do this swap. Keep the stock engine in it. That's the only appealing thing about the car anyways, is the V6. So don't even think about it. It's garbage. It's fucking garbage.
BRZ STI with the 911 engine. If you're going to put some kind of engine in a Subaru, it should probably be a Porsche one. The only problem is whenever you engine swap a BRZ or an 8.6 in this game, it is rendered completely useless. There's no point to it. This car, for some reason in this game, is a loosey-goosey piece of garbage. So 800 horsepower is far too much for this little shitbox. Once again, put the racing engine in it, you tune it down, you're gonna run forever and you're gonna have an infinite amount of fuel. Otherwise, this is completely useless. I don't understand, like, why having a lot of horsepower in this game, just, you can put so much horsepower into cars. Okay, this is one of my main complaints about the game since it launched. You can put so much horsepower into cars. You can take so much weight out of cars. You can make them so fast, but for some reason, there's no way to make it to where they have enough aerodynamic and mechanical grip to use that whatsoever. I don't understand it at all. Why, if we're able to put this much power into the car, and if we're able to take this much weight out of the car, surely, in a realistic scenario, you could spend a similar amount of money making the car fucking behave like a car and not a startled bear. What the fuck is wrong with the handling mechanics in this game when it comes to modified cars? I really don't get it. I really don't want to talk about it anymore, but man, it's bad. When it comes to the engine, I mean, it's okay. I like the power curve on the 911 engine, but in this car with the turbocharger, it's too much. Tune it down. I'm sure it's totally fine. You know, just make sure you do your aero balance properly and you tune the oversteer out of it, because unlike the S14, there's no catching this car. Otherwise, it could be pretty good, but I always try the cars that are upgraded in this video fully modified. Otherwise, what's the point? I'm not really sharing my tuning setups. So, you know, I set them up kind of dumb on purpose. I buy everything and make it ludicrously overpowered and underweight on purpose, because that's how the majority of people are going to upgrade the cars in the game. So I hope that makes sense as to why I'm complaining so much, even though it's really not that justified. And I do bring it up. Hey, maybe don't put 1,000 horsepower in this car. I'm just telling you, it can be, and when you do, it's not drivable, okay? Let's move on to the final engine swap. The Golf gets the same swap as the Aventine, and this one doesn't handle power anywhere near as good. It's just wheel spin, and it sounds bad, and the handling is okay. It's a decent chassis, but it just can't handle this much power. And it's a little bit heavy for how small it is. I would say to not do this one. I would keep the stock engine, because honestly it struggles to keep power down with the stock engine fully built up. So I wouldn't go with this one. I'm decided I don't really like this engine very much, but it's up to you, man. Maybe once again, it's a Group 3 engine. If you detune it a lot, you're gonna have a lot of fuel. That's a recurring theme this update. There's a lot of race car engines. But yeah, don't run it at 800 horsepower. It doesn't work. There's no point to doing it at all. And that's kind of the engine swap theme of the update, I suppose. Really powerful race car engines in front-wheel drive shit boxes, and it's just engines with too much power overall. There's like 2 cars that are drivable, fully upgraded. So yeah, that's that's this swap pretty much. Similar to the Aventine, just a little bit worse. Less understeer, but less grip when accelerating. Now, the summary of the update. In conclusion, I have decided that the content in this update is really good. Just the pure amount of engine swaps, even if they aren't very good alone, is pretty good. And you got like 2 or 3 decent cars out of it that are okay. The only problem that I have with it is, and this kind of outweighs the good stuff in my opinion, is that this is like concrete evidence that Gran Turismo's mission is changing. Like, it's not really about what the original was about. It's not really what it was about until like GT4 or 5 or whatever you want to say. It's dramatically changed from what the game was originally, and you can like that. There are some things to like about it, but I personally, that's not why I buy Gran Turismo. If I wanted a game that's going in the direction of Gran Turismo, I would go with a different game. I won't lie, it has sparked my interest in what's to come in September, which is, right now, it's September 8th. By the time I finish this video, it'll probably be the fucking 9th, which is my birthday, by the way. Happy birthday to me. Go fuck yourself. Anyways, sorry this video sucked. Sorry it was so long. I am surprised it took 45 minutes to talk about just the cars and the engine swaps. I want to continue with this format, but not if it takes 45 fucking minutes just for the whole video to be done. I've spent 3 weeks making this, recording stuff. I was broke in Gran Turismo 7, so I have to grind a little bit. There's probably like 2 hours of grinding to get all the cars, and I don't have very much time to record ever, or to like put videos together, edit, all that kind of stuff. I just don't have time, and I don't have a place to do it, and I'm still talking into my fucking cell phone. But anyways, again, thanks for sitting through this. I know it sucks. Hopefully I'll get better. Hopefully Gran Turismo will get better, and I will see you in September. Even though it is September, I'll see you again in September. Hopefully I don't lose my fucking mind.